Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast. I'm your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect that you all are having a super duper and wonderful day. I'm having a great day. I just got back from my bakery, and it's a beautiful, bright, sunny day, and I'm ready to take on this podcast with you. Today, I'm coming at you live, or whenever you guys are listening to this, about building tolerance for your dream. I've been thinking about this and the amount of soul force, energy, time, dedication, and love and passion and all the beautiful things that go into the creation of a dream, whether it's a dream of having a beautiful relationship, whether it's a dream of creating a beautiful business and thriving successful business, whether it's increasing and having even more vibrancy and health and aliveness in your body, or any number of things that maybe at the level of fact are not being expressed to the fullest extent that it could be in your life. But therefore, it's categorized as a dream because it requires a level of, well, discipline and work and allowance and a certain attitude that goes into the creation of this dream. There are a number of things in my life that I can say that I can check off my list as dreams being realized. And when reflecting back and with talking with others who are building their own dreams, who have realized some dreams of their own, that there's always something more that we are working towards. And I'll mention again, life is ever seeking a freer, fuller, and even more expanded version of itself by means of us. And so there's always going to be something more in our life that we would love to realize, that we would love to experience in our life, in reality, to just have fun and play in life. Many of us, and it might be one of you listeners, who are thinking about creating something, who are stepping into it, who are endeavoring to create something even more amazing in your life. And there is a part of you that doesn't yet know how it's going to come into being and what it's going to take in order for it to be realized. Increasing our sense of tolerance, our capacity not only to dream bigger than we ever have before, but even stepping into it and realizing that sometimes there are certain dreams that are gonna take a while, that we don't know the timeline for its unfolding. And as we're endeavoring to grow into this dream, we grow at the same time. And that comes with building our capacity to know that it can actually be realized, especially for many of us who it might be a little bit harder to dream bigger, who you might be coming up against some self-sabotaging habits that come up against some mental barriers that keep you separate from the dream that you would love to realize, from people and places and circumstances that might feel like huge boundaries to cross. And there's a part of you that really, really wants it to happen, and there's a part of you that's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if this is possible for me. Like, how is it even going to be a thing in my life? Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So, for us, for me, for you, for everybody listening who might be coming up against their own limiting beliefs, limiting stories, and wanting to know how we build our own capacity to not only have mental resiliency, physical resiliency, but our resiliency in our spiritual heart to step into this life. I would love for this podcast to reflect that, to acknowledge the discipline and patience it takes to build capacity for our dream, how we might recognize some self-limiting beliefs and some self-sabotaging habits that come along in the process of building our dream, as well as some ways in which we can continue to move forward in our dream to see it into fruition, even when things might not always go as we have intended to. I would love to start off with faith building to step into this beautiful dream of yours. For some of you, maybe at the level of fact, you're experiencing a health condition that might feel like it's been in your life for a very long time or even a short amount of time that feels like you're not able to step into the fullest aliveness of health, vitality, and wellness that you are deserving of. Or for those of you who are passionate about creating something and wanting to bring your gifts and talents to this world and saying, man, I'd love to have a business and I'd love it to be even more successful to reach the people that I'd love to reach. Or for those of you who are like, man, I just don't want to have to work at all. Like, I would love to travel the world. I would love to spend more time with my family. I would love to be able to step into even greater levels of time and money freedom. Or for some of you who would love all of that, plus a vibrant, loving, caring relationship where I've discovered through coaching my own clients and coaching myself and being in this work that building faith to know that your dream is actually a possibility comes with time. I know everyone loves to hear that, but it really does take consistency and continuing to work towards your dream in mind that you're holding in your heart and your mind, that what you are dreaming up inside of you is actually possible. And the more that you continue to take steps towards it, the greater your faith becomes that it can be a possibility. But touching on this, what happens when we feel like we've tried again, we keep trying, and man, it just doesn't seem like anything is working out for us. That, yeah, we want to have this vibrant relationship, yet we keep getting duds. We keep finding people who just don't serve us. We keep finding people who just aren't the person that we love. Or we keep trying to take steps towards our health, and yes, nothing seems to be coming up. We might be getting worse than better. Or we start into a business and maybe we don't have the customers, we don't have the level of skill yet to step into the business. We might not have the business capacity. Or maybe your bank account looks a certain way and it's difficult to realize or to even dream of having the financial liberation that we really want to have in order to spend more time with our family, friends, and do the traveling that we'd love to do. So I would like to first honor all of those thoughts of, man, I keep trying and things just don't seem to be working out for me. I would love to just air that, to make that known that we have those thoughts. It happens, it crosses my mind too. When I'm doing something and I keep trying and I'm like, why isn't this working? Why do I keep feeling like I'm coming up against either mostly myself, but why does it feel like everything that I'm doing and every step that I'm taking either feels like it's either veering me off track or it feels like I'm just not there yet, that it's just out of reach and I'm almost there and yet something happens and I just feel like I've taken two steps back. So, one of these, I would like to say, after acknowledging these thoughts, is just, woo, let's just give ourselves a little high five, pats on the back for just acknowledging sometimes, oftentimes, it's not always going to be the first try that's going to achieve our dreams. Woo! Don't we love that? But it's true that sometimes when we really, really want something, a quote that comes to mind is that sometimes God doesn't give us what we want, it gives us what we need. And thinking about that, sometimes like, oh, great, yes, this is what I really want. Like, I wanted to have more things to keep me from my dream. But definitely think that this is part of tolerance building. In my last video, I talked about being passionate towards your dream, about keeping that fire of desire within you. And every time that there's something that comes up mentality wise that says, why does it feel like I'm just farther away from my dream than I would love to be? That's part of it. And For some of you, you're like, well, I don't want to hear that. Sometimes I don't want to hear it. I'm like, that sometimes we don't get what we want, we get what we need. And building tolerance and faith towards our dream that it is absolutely possible for us, that every step we're taking, not only are we getting wiser, we're getting smarter, and we found out ways that don't work. We can check those off. Fantastic. This isn't working towards my dream. Well, the only thing that's keeping me from my dream is myself. You are the only person who is going to come up against your actions and your thinking and your feeling tone. And so once you're able to master yourself, saying it doesn't matter how many times I need to do this before it becomes a reality, I'm just going to keep trying. And it's that level of mentality that is really going to help keep that fire of desire in your heart, as well as emotionalizing your dream. Again, mentioning in the other video that I highly recommend you check out is that when it means something to you, in the end, it won't matter how many times it takes. Because sometimes it's like take one, take two, okay, take 107. But if you're able to keep an open mind, knowing that, okay, if it's not this way, there must be another door open. Okay, if it wasn't this, then it must mean that something else is being revealed. And sometimes it's through our trial and error. And oftentimes it's through our trial and error where not only is information revealed to us, but we grow our capacity to realize, okay, well, now I know that not only have I done it 107 times before this, I've already done it 107 times. What is 107 more? And as we're continuing to take steps towards our dream, I would love for you to just keep in mind you're taking steps towards your dream. It's not that you create this dream in your mind and then you take an action step and you're like, and shablamo, there she is. Isn't she beautiful? It's who you become along the way that is one of the most cherished things that you will ever realize in your life. Having the dream, the relationship, the successful business, the money in your bank account, the time freedom to spend with your family, the health to enjoy. You have to become someone far different from who you are today. I'm assuming, because I don't know who you are, but you have to become someone different in order for your dream to be realized. And every failure, and what I love to call feedback, is honestly a check mark for you to say, not only am I able to recognize that failure or feedback is going to be a companion along the way, but who do I have to become in order to have this dream? Do you know who you have to become? And do you know who you are becoming? You become someone, and you are someone who is hard to break. You become someone who recognizes failure as feedback and continues to step forward. You become someone so focused on the beauty of realizing your dream, knowing that as you are endeavoring to eat better, go to the gym, to keep putting yourself out there, even though sometimes it might be painful, to continue to study business moves, to become someone who thought you couldn't, but then you realize that you can and are. Someone who knows how to become better with your time, to become the person who has an even better business sense and money sense of your wealth. This is who you are becoming. And so I want to remind you guys, as you are currently building your capacity for your dream, that you are becoming someone who didn't know in the beginning that you could, but now you are the train that could. You are the person who is every step along the way. And so, jumping back to the quote, sometimes the universe or God doesn't give us what we want. It gives us what we need in order to become that person, to be that resilient, soulful being, having a radiant human experience. We want the dream. It's part of the fun is getting to realize and getting to play with the dream as it is unfolding. And at the same time, as you're realizing this dream of yours, this fire in your heart, building capacity also means checking in with yourself. It means recognizing your mental state and saying, maybe at the level of fact, things are not going my way. I'm coming up against myself. I'm coming up what seems to be barriers. And I'd also love to add to this, what if these barriers aren't actually barriers? What if they're just not this way, not this move? You're close, but just a little bit to the left. These fine tuning are not only, again, reminding you that you are becoming wiser and more intelligent in your endeavor to create this dream, but it's also showing you that you have the ability to create workarounds around things that might seem like barriers at this moment, but are actually catalysts to transcend. Building tolerance and or capacity for your dream. Let's talk about more self-sabotage. Love talking about that because we're doing it. We can do it. We probably will do it because the only person who's really standing in your way to realize your dream is you. Your mentality, your limiting beliefs, your outdated paradigms, and the emotions and actions associated with it. For myself, I'm the first one to say that I self-sabotage all the time because I'm still growing my ability and my resiliency to realize my dream. I have health goals, relationship goals, time, money, freedom goals, business goals that feel at the level of fact far out of my reach. Whether or not they actually are, again, is my own mentality. But there are certain things that I tell myself that become self-sabotaging. And then I realize it and I say, how can I switch this? How can I change my thought in order to realize that I actually can? What does self-sabotage actually look like? It looks like procrastination. It looks like negative self-talk. It looks like perfectionism. It looks like self-isolation or habits that feel out of alignment with the version of you who you would love to be. So let's put self-sabotage into this frame of mind. Self-sabotage, as you can say, neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. I consider self-sabotage when I'm making moves in the direction of my dream and I'm poking, prodding, and maybe rubbing up against a paradigm that needs to be repatterned. So it's gonna come up and it's gonna say, hey, let's just try really, really hard and let's try to perfect this and let's not do this yet because it needs to be absolutely perfect before I can reveal it. It's gonna look like, no, let's put it off till later. Like it's really actually important to do my laundry right now. It's gonna look like, no, don't post that. What if you offend somebody? What if someone doesn't like it? What if you're embarrassed? So putting in the perspective of, okay, these are just old paradigms. Whoa, let's celebrate ourselves right now. Little snake hands, some fireworks, little pat on the head. I just realized an old belief pattern. Awesome, let's change this. Because once we realize that self-sabotage is really just old patterns coming up that haven't yet had a chance to be turned into what you would love it to be. So recognizing them is one of the great ways in order to change patterns and habits in your life that will come up in order to help you continue to build tolerance for your dream. So let's look at it. Let's look at self-sabotage with self-compassion and forgiveness. Up until now, I had a lot of regret and a lot of self-judgment on doing things where I was like, Nikki, you know you're not supposed to do that. Or we'll put that in quotes. You know you're not supposed to do that. You know that doing this isn't going to move you towards your dreams. So why are you doing it? Like I see you're about to do it. Why are you doing this? And I would take the action anyways. And I would have a lot of judgment from myself because being in this work, part of me was saying in my head, dude, you're in this work. You know what you're doing. You're self-aware enough. Why does this keep coming up? And that's what kept me trapped up until now. We're going to use that one. Up until now is a great one. Up until now, I used to self-sabotage far more. But now I know that I've actually repatterned and I am repatterning whole limiting beliefs that keep coming up. So for yourself, self-judgment can be a fantastic way of keeping you in self-sabotage because when you keep judging yourself, when you don't have forgiveness for the fact that you are learning, we're all learning, it can be a way of the mind keeping itself down that pattern of thought of this lower vibration. Self-judgment and lack of forgiveness is a fantastic way of keeping yourself below and in this frame of thought because it wants to stay there. But being able to recognize self-sabotaging mind beliefs, patterns, habits, actions, recognizing them first, honoring them and saying, "Woo, thanks so much for coming up. Okay, let's just suss this out. It's okay. I forgive me completely." And this is what I would encourage you to do. It's something that I'm doing far more often because one, it just feels good. It releases any attachment to whatever belief, behavior, and action that I am doing or did do. And it just releases it. It releases the emotional attachment to it. And I'm like, man, Nikita, I am so proud of you. And I forgive you completely. I release you from our past. I accept healing now. May there be only good for me in this moment. And may I allow even more understanding in this situation. Say that as many times as you need. And feel free to say it all the time if you need. There is a difference between doing something and saying, "Oh, I'll just forgive myself." Of course, you want to be aware and put some more mindfulness and discipline and, of course, patience and compassion in your actions. It's a different story when you keep doing it and doing it, knowing you're not supposed to do it. But if you are willing to see yourself for the imperfect being, human that you are, self-compassion and forgiveness go a long way with building capacity. Knowing that you just have to try. You just have to endeavor to live the life that you are saying you would love to live. Not perfectly. And that's okay. But when we are building capacity and tolerance to know that not only are the dreams of our heart a possibility for us that could be a reality, we're allowing ourselves to just whew, let out a sigh of relief. Take off the pressure. We don't have to do this perfectly. All I have to do is try. And it's a one way of being able to acknowledge self-sabotaging habits and beliefs, repattern them, and continue to move towards something that you would love even greater than some of the old patterns that will keep you down if you let them. Let's challenge our inner critic for a little bit. I mentioned that building capacity and tolerance starts with and involves forgiveness and self-compassion, but it also requires you to be like Gandalf at the portal of your mind saying, "You shall not pass negative self-talk, critic of mine. I am going to say nay, nay to this negative self-talk, and I'm going to challenge you a little bit. Oh, you're saying I can't do this, that I'm not deserving of this? Well, I'm gonna say I actually can do this. No, 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 no. I am doing this. Not perfectly, but you know what? I don't even have to. I don't have to do it perfectly. No one said I had to do it perfectly. Someone just said, and I said, all I have to do is try. And yes, there may be some moments in my life as I'm endeavoring to live the life that I would love that I might get hurt, that it might not be easy. But do you know what? I am a survivor. I am a person who is resilient. I'm the kind of person who is becoming even more resilient, who is going to continue to rise to face any challenge that will come my way. Because you know what? These challenges are helping me grow. So I'm going to see these metaphorical barriers that I think are going to stop me, but ha ha, I laugh in the face of them, knowing that I am doing this, that not only that I can do this, I am doing this. And every single time I try to do this, I'm getting stronger. So we celebrate ourselves. We challenge those inner critics and we allow ourselves to set achievable goals. Let's lump all this together because achievable goals, like bite-sized amounts, it's like having a beautiful buffet and you want to eat all of it. Let's put gluttony aside for a second, but we want to eat the buffet. We're like, man, I want a little of this, little of this, little of this. If you try to eat it all in one go, you're like, oh my God, how am I supposed to eat all of this like I want it? It sounds so great, but whoa, my tummy's a little full and I'm feeling a little saturated. I feel like if I try to eat this, I'm gonna throw up or have some diarrhea later because my body doesn't want to eat all of this at one time. But you don't have to. You can have the whole buffet and you can take your time, set achievable goals, enjoy the just taking the action steps that you know that you have this whole buffet. You've got this beautiful dream of yours. You don't have to do it all at once. You can take little nibbles at it every single day, multiple times a day if you want. And if you're feeling like you're full, you're saturated, you want to do something else, go do it. Come back, enjoy yourself, celebrate yourself for taking those small bites. And then as you're coming up and so as you're taking a step and paradigms come up and saying, you can't do this. Who are you to do this? You're gonna fail. And you're saying, nope, I'm Gandalf. Step out of the way. You shall not pass. I can do this. And achievable goals help us continue to build our tolerance and faith and capacity to continue to live into our dreams. Because if we try to take this really big chunk of things that we don't even know if we can, nor do we want to, it's going to be harder along the way to continue to maintain that. But if you know that there are other people who are, you know, eating their buffet, living their dreams, continuing to take steps, so can you. Of course you can. If they can do it, you can do it. They're soulful beings having a human experience. You're a soulful being having a beautiful human experience. And anything that they can do, you can do as well. And I want you to remind yourself of that. Some of us have it in our mentality that we're not smart enough. We don't have the education. We don't have the business sense. We don't have the ability to be loved. That there's something in our minds that we chose to take on, even though it's not true, that is stopping us from actually taking a step towards it, saying that other people have the upper hand. But I would love for you to know that that is not true. The truth is that you are an infinite being. You are connected to the source that gives every single thing alive life. In the Talmud, it says that every blade of grass has an angel whispering over it saying, grow, grow, grow. And that same angel, that same voice and power is the same power speaking to you. So if a blade of grass can press through cement to seek the light, you, as a beautiful, radiant, soulful being having a human experience, can absolutely realize your dreams in whatever capacity that looks like to you. The next thing that I would love to share is having an accountability buddy, as well as what I love to call my partners in believing. They're the people that I take inspiration from. They're the people that I continue to check in with when I'm feeling like I'm coming up against my own internal dialogue that doesn't feel as happy and sunny. They're the people who are going to say, dude, I've seen you do this. You can do it again. And they're also the people who are in the game. They're doing it. They're doing what you would love to do. And you're seeing them and you're taking inspiration from them. Your partners in believing are going to be your best cheerleaders when you feel like you can't do it on your own. And you're not meant to do it on your own. We are surrounded by what, over 7 billion of us? This means that we're communal creatures. We're here not to do this by ourselves, but lean on each other for support. It means that we can take the load off and ask for help. Ask for a little kick in the butt. Ask for someone just to say, "Hey, I know that I can do this. I just need you, and I would love for you to help me hold space here because I'm feeling like I need it or I would love it." Finding those people in your life and being able to be authentic, to acknowledge them for who they are and who they are in your life is important to continue to not only build faith and tolerance and capacity for your dream, but also just to make it more fun along the way as you're building your dream and as you are becoming the person who is realizing your dream. I'd love to share a story about the becoming of one of my dreams and the unexpected ways in which it came to me and my tolerance building for my capacity to not only be a business owner, but to also recognize my own skill set. For any of you who know me, I have been baking since I was so tiny. I loved baking and I still love baking. It's one of my businesses is having a bakery. And all I've ever done when all I've ever done is just work in my kitchen. And it was something that I did for a number of years. I would do it with my grandma growing up. It's where not only did I love doing it, I loved giving it to people. The idea of just baking something with love, with putting time and energy into something, with putting money into something, and then getting to share it with people and saying, "Hey, I made this sweet, delicious treat, thought of you, would love for you to have it." And people are thrilled. Now, before I came to the West Coast, there were so many people who would say, "Nikki, you should open up your own business. Like, man, you should have your own bakery. You are awesome at this." And all that was going on in my head is just like, no, I just do this for fun. I heard along the way that if you do what you love, you'll learn to hate it because, well, work is hard. And like, I really don't know if I have the business sense. Like, I don't even know what it takes to run a bakery. I don't really have the money to go into pastry school. I don't want to do it. Like no. But I'll do it in my kitchen, no problem. And after this, I moved to the West Coast, still baking, happy, just doing it in my home, doing it for my friends and my family as well. And then at the time, 6 years ago, I met this beautiful guy who is now my ex, but my partner at the time. And he said, "Hey, so you're awesome at baking. And there's this new up and coming bakery that is opening up. They are hiring someone to help run the kitchen. Would you be interested?" And immediately, paradigm came up full force and said, "No, I don't have the skills. I don't have the business sense. I don't have the education to run a bakery. I just don't think that it would be for me." And he's like, "Ah, no, it would be fine. Like it's super low key, it's chill. Like, why don't you just like put in your resume and just see what happens?" And I was like, no, and I was just mulling it over. And again, paradigm full force, just saying, "No, you can't do this. Who are you to try? Like, no one's gonna want your stuff. Like, you don't have the standards to do it." And there was a moment that I remember walking down the street and I was just thinking it over. I was like, maybe. I was like, I mean, what if I could? And I was just like leaning into it, leaning into it. I was like, okay, Nikki. I was like, what if you just tried? What if you just like put in your resume and just see how it went? If you don't like it, back out immediately. That's fine. And I said, okay, no problem. Like if I'm giving myself an out, it's like let's just do it. Let's see what happens. And so I did. I put in my resume. I remember calling the boss and I said, "Hey, I heard that you have a position open." Straight up,
I don't have any like education. I've never done this before. I just do baking in my kitchen, but I'm passionate about it, love doing it. And she was like, "Okay, cool. Come on in. Let's give you a test out. Let's see who you are and see if we like you. And we'll go from there." So, fast forward, I get the job and they just threw me into the fire. I had no idea. I had some idea what I was doing, but they're like, "Here are the recipes. Fly at her." I had no one training me. They just gave me these recipes and just assumed that I would know what I was doing. And I just tried. That's it. And I just kept taking steps. There was one other person working with me. She was also like great at what she does, also does it in her kitchen, but we were both two novices just endeavoring to try to run this kitchen. And I remember when I was first learning to do cinnamon buns, oh man, they were still delicious, but they did not look like the ones that I make today. It was such a great attempt. And that's one thing that I'm so proud of is that I just tried. But these cinnamon buns, like, man, I just didn't know how to do them. They would always come out like underbaked and they wouldn't proof, meaning like they didn't rise and get all like puffy and nice and fluffy. I was like, how do people do it? Like, mine feel like they're dense and hard and gummy. And I was like, what do I do with this? And I was like, okay, well, I'll turn these cinnamon buns and I'll make them into like cinnamon bun muffins. It's another hack. If you're just like endeavoring to try, you're like, it's never a failure. It's all just feedback. What can I do with these? And so I just did what I could with them. I was like, I can't sell these, so let's just make it into something else. Shablamo, we got ourselves a cinnamon bun muffin. And that was how I started. I just kept going, kept trying and failing and trying again and failing and trying again and getting a little bit better, but still not where I wanted to be. Let's fast forward in maybe another year or two. And a beautiful woman who I didn't even know was going to come into my life, she became my mentor. I was just endeavoring to try to run this kitchen, doing my best. And then here is this wonderful person who's not only run kitchens before, didn't even know she was going to show up. And here she is, a pastry chef, saying, not only am I going to pay you to learn, I'm going to teach you everything that I know. And for the next year or two, I got to learn besides somebody who did this as a profession, who loved what she did. And I got to learn, I got to get paid to learn how to do something I was already passionate about. But now I get to take it up tenfold. Not only did I learn how to run a kitchen with far more efficiency, I got to learn how to hone in on the skills that I wanted to hone in on. I got to learn how to overcome a lot of self-limiting beliefs and barriers. And I got to keep practicing and failing and practicing and getting better and practicing and becoming so skillful. Did I know that after that, after she left, that I would be taking over the bakery and making it my own? That it went from something that became a tiny storefront to expanding to three other businesses? Did I know that I was going to get to run the kitchen, have multiple apprentices, and grow this kitchen be far more than I even expected when I was only someone who was baking for shits and giggles in my own kitchen? No. Straight up, if I knew 6 years ago that I was going to be running a kitchen with confidence, with expertise, and training others with no education, just passion in my heart and the will to keep going, I would have laughed and said, that's not me. And here I am today, proving to my past year self that I am the woman who. You have a beautiful dream of yours. You are endeavoring to step into it. There is fear, there is anxiety, there's probably a part of you that's saying, you can't do this. Who are you to try? But what I want to remind you is that as you are beginning to step into something that you don't even know is possible for you yet, it's not even born yet, it might just be a vision. There are going to be people, resources, money, and and other things that are going to come into your life that you have no idea are in store for you. Building capacity and tolerance for your dream is trusting in the process. There's something in your life that's calling out to you to grow higher, to grow stronger, to grow to more a resilient measure. And there are things that have yet to come into your life that are going to help you along the way to build your capacity. If you are willing to start now and just continue to try, you will be amazed at who you are at the end of it. 6 years ago, I had no idea what my life would have been like and what my life is now. There are still more things that I'm dreaming up, and there are still ways in which I want to grow. But the key to your success is reminding yourself that it may not always be easy, but you've definitely got this. That it may not happen all at once, but you know that every step of the way, more is being revealed for you. The key to your success is continuing and being consistent in your endeavors, is being firm with your inner critic and saying, nope, I don't agree with that. I'm choosing to think something else. Being successful in building your capacity is being forgiving and compassionate with yourself as well. For those of you who would love to continue to build your capacity and to create stronger mental mindset towards building your dream, every Monday from 3 to 4 p.m. PST, that's Pacific Standard Time, I'm holding a Mindset Mastery Monday. This is for you to help build your dreams, both short term and long term, to help you engage with a community of like minded light bringers to help you bring your dreams into fruition. If it sounds like something you'd love to do, then feel free to check out the link down below for the Zoom registration and pop your name down there and join us every Monday. I thank you guys so much for being here today, for sharing the podcast, for liking and subscribing and continuing to promote Perfectly Powerfully You because we are an awesome team. I hope you guys have a excellent rest of your day, and I look forward to talking with you all very soon. Thank you all for joining me today because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.